Hi everyone, it's Gary Cassidy here from Sportskeeda Wrestling. I've had a load of great guests recently and they're definitely not stopping anytime soon. With me today is NXT UK's Dave Mastiff. How's it going today, Dave?
I'm not bad, thank you very much, Gary. How about yourself?
Not too bad. It's a little bit early in the UK after watching Raw last night, of course, but the sun's shining, so can't really complain too much. The first thing I need to ask, before we get into the wrestling, all the fun stuff, obviously a time we're living in right now, over in the UK, we can't really get outside or do much. Obviously, that's changing a little bit now. But I want to ask yourself, with no wrestling currently in the UK, how are you keeping yourself busy? What are you doing at these times?
For myself, I'm using a lot of the time to study old tapes and old matches. That keeps my mind active, that keeps me learning, that keeps me improving as a professional. Fortunately for myself, last year for my birthday, my partner totally did out the garage, and I moved a boatload of gym equipment in there, so I've had a garage gym for a considerable time now, so I was slightly ahead of the curve, so I'm able to keep fit and keep active in there. I've got obviously my walking the dog, that's my mandated outdoor time for the day, and just that, I mean, keeping busy, trying to entertain my son, and that's been a bit of a blessing, because the time we've had off, it's been totally unbroken time with him, and to see him develop, and it's really nice to be able to see that, I guess. So there is a positive from all of this right now.
Yeah, definitely. It's nice that there's those little kind of silver linings on the clouds that we've got, or lack of clouds if you look outside at the moment. But that's yeah, but that's so obviously, the stuff outside the ring that you can do to kind of keep yourself going until you get back in the ring is definitely a good thing, and a luxury that some people might not have, which is good. But the one thing, in the UK right now, we don't have much in the way of wrestling. Not at all, actually. If you look at the UK specifically, we're all watching, what's happening in America. We're still getting entertainment. It's great. Sadly, there's no crowds. Obviously, it's a bit of a necessity. What do you think about the prospect of wrestling in front of a crowd, if it were to come to that?
Well, I think there is a plan going forward that as soon as it's safe for us to return to work and to provide content, then I believe we absolutely will. So, as a professional, just to be able to provide the content for people to bring smiles to the faces is something that we're all really looking forward to. And it'll be different with there not being much of a crowd, or with there being no crowd if we have to do that. But we're professionals, we're focused, and we've got a job to do when we go back, and we will absolutely do it, and we'll all be relishing going back to work. And the truth is, it's a little bit funny, but if you go back 15 years, there wasn't many people in crowds at British wrestling shows. So it's going to be about 7 people less than my smallest crowd I ever wrestled in front of when I was young.
Yeah, definitely. That's one thing. I think anybody that's followed British wrestling for, as long as their life, if they're over like 25 years old, will be used to there not being much of a crowd. But the one thing that, obviously we're still getting NXT UK shows right now. It's obviously not live, or not as live content. It's not like the fresh content that we'd be used to in terms of a taping happening and then getting the matches a couple of weeks later. But the one thing for me is, I think it's been great getting to go back and watch, how the brand started, see classic matches and see little hidden gems thrown in as well. So I need to ask, what's been your highlight of NXT UK personally?
Oh, that's a curveball. I was expecting a different question to that. Personally, I couldn't pick one. There's been so many. I've had so many great experiences in the ring. In the ring, I think 2 moments stand out for me. The first one being obviously the Royal Albert Hall against Joe Coffey to really kick the brand off. Our first big moment as a brand was there. And again against Joe Coffey, Takeover Cardiff, Last Man Standing. Those were big moments in the ring, but the whole experience so far, the last 2 years have been phenomenal, and just away from the ring, being able to go around the country to these different places and entertain people, to build something special has been really cool. And also there's been times where last year NXT UK went out to the Royal Rumble in Phoenix, and we went out to WrestleMania in New York. So to be able to go out there and represent the brand, and to see those places, meet the WWE universe, the meet and greets and stuff, has been something really special. And on a totally personal and selfish note, to be able to do that with some of my best friends who I've known for a long time it's been really great.
Yeah, well, that's the thing for me is that, I think my two highlights personally of yours would probably be the match that I saw with Cassidy at NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool, but it was, shown a little bit later, and the match with Joe Coffey. Obviously, being Scottish, I had a vested interest in that, but also having watched you for years, I was like, man, these are just two barbaric guys that are going to go toe to toe. Going into a match like that, what's your mindset? Is it just get out the other side alive, or do you have a specific different switch that you flip?
Yeah, there's definitely a switch that you can flick on, and for something like that, knowing, I think there's like 5,000 people there, and hundreds of thousands, maybe more, watching on the WWE Network live. The thrill and the buzz from the crowd in the arenas, that's what you live for, and that's why we do what we do. And as the match goes on, I personally become way more comfortable, and I'll start to almost enjoy it, despite how painful it can be and how dangerous it can be. It's the greatest thrill that I could have.
Yeah, and the one thing that, I mentioned there that my two Dave Mastiff highlights were two matches. I lied a little bit. My Dave Mastiff highlight was actually seeing you and fighting with my family, because when I was watching that, I just didn't expect to see Dave Mastiff standing there. For you, what was that like? How did it come about for a start, and what was it like being in that film?
That was a crazy experience, really. It came about because I saw one of my friends on social media shared a link with an email address for wanting wrestling extras. So I emailed and sent off my details and some photos, and then I had a call from them. They said, "Oh, can you come down so we can just talk to you?" And I went down, and I met Stephen Merchant and a couple of his associates, and then they said, "Right, can you come on these 2 days and do some filming? We want to do a wrestling montage and stuff like that." So I said, "Yeah, that sounds good to me." And I went down to London very early mornings, but I went down and we filmed in part of the Olympic Park, and it was madness, really. It was a long day, but filmed a scene with Vince Vaughn. He was a really interesting guy, and a real down to earth guy. It was quite interesting speaking to him in between takes, because he seems so down to earth, and we were just chatting about Gracie Jiu-Jitsu and MMA, and and about professional wrestling as well. So it was a real cool experience, really humbling, and I feel quite fortunate that I got to do some of the things I did. I did a lot of work with the lead character, who was obviously portraying Paige, and to film stuff with her, the tryout scene and stuff was really cool. She was really willing to give things a go in terms of the physical aspects in the ring, which can be tough, obviously, but she gave it a good go, and she was ready for the rough and tumble of it. So that was quite cool.
Yeah, and the one thing that I've been asking, a kind of adapted version of this question to everybody in NXT UK. Obviously, as part of NXT UK, you work with the legends of the industry, and the likes of Triple H, Shawn Michaels, but also Johnny Saint, William Regal. You've also been in a movie with The Rock as well, to throw that part in. What is the strangest interaction that you've had with a WWE legend or a fellow WWE superstar?
Oh, jeez. a lot of it is pretty surreal in general. Working at the PC with Shawn Michaels, who's one of our coaches. Shawn Michaels is my boyhood hero, and talking with him about my matches and how to get better, how to improve and stuff like that, and listening to some of the things he says, that's surreal. We came back from, I remember speaking to him after the Glasgow tapings up at Brayhead last year. We'd come back from a main event. It was a 4-way main event. Myself, Joe Coffey, Travis, and Jordan Devlin. I spoke to Shawn, and we all spoke to him. And Shawn was really complimentary, and it's kind of strange to. It's just strange to hear that, and it's kind of hard to accept, because he's saying complimentary things to you, obviously, and you kind of don't want to believe it, because he's the greatest of all time. So he doesn't need to say those things.
Excellent. And I've got two last questions, or kind of quick ones. The first one is definitely on the flip side of that one. You working with veterans, I think a lot of younger people might look up to you as a veteran, because you've been around for a while, done so many things. Who's the one young talent in NXT UK that you're like, man, people need to be watching this person because they're going to be huge?
Ooh. I don't know, the roster's so talented, and so much depth on the roster at the moment. And also people will think that we're talking about young people, but there's so many people who aren't necessarily young, they're not like 19, 20 years of age, but they've not really come to full prominence yet. They're involved, but they're not, they're not really broke out. But someone like Ashton Smith has got a lot to offer, I think. And then again, there's young guys like Tyler, who's like 23, 24, something like that. But Tyler's already a breakout star. There's just so many. Valkyrie's just came in to NXT UK recently. She's got a lot of potential. There's a whole host, and there's young, and nobody's old, but there's throughout the roster there's so much talent, and everyone's just waiting to break out, and everyone's going to get their moments at some point, and you're going to see just how talented the NXT UK roster is.
Yeah, and my last question is, I just asked you to praise some people for the NXT UK roster, but the thing that I've been seeing online probably for the past few weeks is people saying, man, I can't wait for this all to end, because when I get back in the ring with someone, they are in for a bit of brutality. They're going to get beaten up within an inch of their life. Who can't you wait to get your hands back on once this is all over? Who's the one person you'd want to be back in that ring with right now?
Oh, I'm indiscriminate. I'll absolutely batter anyone. But no, I always I enjoyed giving Walter a good pasting in York, and me and Joe Coffey, obviously I think we've got a bit of a history in NXT UK, and even beyond that. And, our paths might not be crossing at the moment, but I've got no doubt that down the line they'll cross again. And Joe brings a bit of something out to me, and I think I'll bring something out of him as well. And it's usually pretty brutal.
Excellent. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure to chat with you.
No problem.
Hopefully you have a great rest of the day as well.
You too, mate, and hopefully see you at the shows again sometime soon.
Yeah, most definitely. Thank you.
Thank you, mate.